Destiny Carter's hand trembled as she leaned over the table, her voice barely a whisper. "Don't drink that. Run. Now." The biker's fingers froze an inch from the glass. His eyes met hers. And in that moment, both their lives changed forever. What happened next would bring down a criminal empire, create an unlikely family, and prove that sometimes the smallest act of courage can move mountains. Before we continue, subscribe to our channel and follow this incredible story to the very end. Drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. Marcus Williams kicked the stand down on his Harley and swung off the bike. 42 years old, 15 years with the Hells Angels, vice president of the Memphis chapter. And tonight he was tired down to his bones. The meeting in Nashville had gone bad. Real bad. Deals that should have been simple turned complicated. People who should have been allies showed their true colors. Now he had enemies in places he didn't expect. He needed coffee. He needed to think. Blue Moon Diner sat on the edge of the highway like it had been there forever. Neon sign flickering. Parking lot half empty. The kind of place where nobody asked questions and nobody remembered faces. Perfect. Marcus pushed through the door. The bell chimed overhead. Destiny Carter looked up from behind the counter. 28 years old, working double shifts 6 days a week, sending every spare dollar to her little brother Darius at Tennessee State. She saw the leather jacket first. The patches. Hells Angels. Her stomach tightened, but her face stayed neutral. 4 years in this diner had taught her how to hide what she was feeling, how to smile when she wanted to scream, how to stay calm when every instinct told her to run. "Sit anywhere you like," she said. "I'll be right with you." Marcus nodded and headed for the corner booth. Back to the wall, eyes on the door. Old habit from his army days. Afghanistan had taught him things he couldn't unlearn. He slid into the seat and picked up the menu. Destiny grabbed a coffee pot and walked over. Up close, she could see the exhaustion carved into his face. Whatever this man had been through tonight, it had cost him. "Coffee." "Black, thank you." She poured. Steam rose between them. "Kitchen closes in an hour," she said. "I can get you something quick if you're hungry." Marcus looked up at her. Really looked. High cheekbones, dark eyes that seemed to hold secrets, hair pulled back practical and neat. Beautiful, but not in a way that demanded attention, in a way that earned it. "Just the coffee for now." Destiny nodded and turned away. That's when she saw them. 2 men, 3 booths away, white shirts under dark jackets, coffee cups untouched. They weren't eating. They weren't talking to each other. They were watching Marcus. Destiny's skin prickled. She'd seen trouble before it started. Seen men who came looking for fights. Seen women running from men who wanted to hurt them. She knew what danger looked like. These 2 were dangerous. She moved to the counter and started wiping it down, but her eyes kept drifting back. The way they tracked Marcus's every breath. The way one kept checking his phone like he was waiting for orders. Marcus finished his coffee and stood. "Restroom. Down the hall, left side." He walked away. The second Marcus disappeared around the corner, one of the men moved. Destiny watched it happen. Slow motion. Like a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. The man stood casually, stretched like his back was stiff. Walked toward Marcus's booth like he was just passing through. His hand went into his pocket. Came out with something small. Something she couldn't quite see. He leaned over Marcus's table, reached for the napkin dispenser like he needed one. His hand passed over the glass of water. One quick motion. Something dropped in. Destiny's heart stopped beating. The man walked back to his booth like nothing happened. Sat down, picked up his coffee. Took a sip. His partner was staring directly at her. Cold eyes. No expression. A message without words. I know you saw. I know you know. What are you going to do about it? Destiny's hands shook so hard she had to put down the rag she was holding. Her mind raced. Options. Choices. Consequences. She could pretend she didn't see anything. Finish her shift. Go home. Forget this ever happened. That would be smart. That would be safe. She thought about Darius, 22 years old, working so hard to become a lawyer. First person in their family to go to college. If something happened to her, who would pay his tuition? Who would make sure he had food? Who would call him every Sunday night just to hear his voice? The smart thing would be to stay quiet. The safe thing would be to mind her own business. But then she heard her mother's voice, clear as the day she died. 8 years ago, cancer eating her from the inside, but her spirit still burning bright. You see something wrong, you speak up, Destiny. You hear me even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because if good people stay quiet, evil wins. Every single time. Destiny grabbed the coffee pot. Her legs felt like water as she walked toward Marcus's booth. The two men tracked her every step. She could feel their eyes like hands around her throat. Marcus came back from the restroom, slid into the booth, reached for his water. Destiny leaned over, pretending to refill his coffee, her lips close to his ear, her voice barely a breath of air. Don't drink that. Run. Now. Marcus's hand stopped, frozen in midair. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Then his eyes moved to the glass, to the two men. Back to her face. Something shifted behind his eyes. The exhaustion was still there, but now something else lived underneath it. Something cold. Something lethal. He didn't run. He stood up. Slow. Deliberate. Like a man who had all the time in the world. And he walked straight toward the two men. Destiny's heart slammed against her ribs so hard she thought it might break through. Marcus stopped at their booth, looked down at them. His voice came out flat. Calm. The kind of calm that made smart people very, very afraid. You got something you want to say to me? The first man smiled, didn't reach his eyes. Just having coffee, brother. That a problem? I'm not your brother. The smile flickered, came back thinner, forced. Hey, no trouble here. We were just leaving. They stood, threw money on the table. But before they walked out, the first man turned back, not to Marcus, to Destiny. Careful who you help, sweetheart. His voice was soft, almost gentle. That made it so much worse. Some people don't appreciate it. The bell chimed. The door swung shut. They were gone. Destiny couldn't breathe. Her hands shook so violently she had to set the coffee pot down before she dropped it and shattered it across the floor. Marcus turned to her. You okay? She nodded. But she wasn't sure anymore what okay meant. Marcus looked at the glass of water still sitting on his table. The water that would have put him to sleep, made him helpless, made him easy to take. Thank you, he said quietly. You just saved my life. Destiny didn't know what to say. Nobody had ever thanked her for something like this. She'd never done anything like this. Marcus pulled out his wallet, left $300 on the table. Then he wrote something on a napkin and slid it toward her. If anything happens, anything at all, you call this number, day or night, you call. Destiny looked at the napkin. A phone number. Memphis area code. Nothing else. I don't understand. What did they put in your drink? Marcus's jaw tightened. Something to knock me out. Make me easy to grab. Grab for what? There are people in this city who want me and my club gone. They'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. And now they know your face. The words hit her like a fist to the stomach. What does that mean? It means you need to be careful. It means you watch your back. And it means if anything feels wrong, anything at all, you call me. He picked up his jacket, headed for the door. Then he stopped. Turned back one more time. What's your name? Destiny. Destiny Carter. Marcus nodded slowly. Like he was memorizing it, like it mattered. You're brave, Destiny Carter. Braver than you know. Then he was gone. The roar of his motorcycle fading into the night. Destiny stood there, holding the napkin, her whole body trembling. What would you have done? Would you have stayed silent? Or would you have spoken up? Think about that. Hold on to your answer. Because this story is just getting started. She looked at the glass of water still sitting on the table. Thought about what would have happened if she'd kept her mouth shut. Then she thought about that man's eyes when he looked at her before he left. Some people don't appreciate it. She folded the napkin carefully, slipped it into her apron pocket. Her shift had another 2 hours. 2 hours of jumping at every sound. 2 hours of watching the door. 2 hours of waiting for those men to come back. They didn't come back. But Destiny knew deep in her gut that this wasn't over. This was just the beginning. Marcus rode straight to the clubhouse. No stops, no detours. His mind racing faster than his engine. Someone had tried to drug him. In public. In a random diner on the highway. That meant they'd been following him. Tracking him. Waiting for the right moment. This wasn't random. This was planned. And that waitress. Destiny. She'd thrown herself into danger for a stranger. No hesitation. No thought for herself. Just saw something wrong and acted. When was the last time someone had done that for him? He couldn't remember. The clubhouse was lit up when he pulled in. 6 bikes in the lot. Voices through the windows. Music playing low. Marcus killed the engine. Sat there for a moment. He needed to tell them. All of them. Because this wasn't just about him anymore. Someone was declaring war. He pushed through the door. Derek Thompson looked up from behind the bar. President of the Memphis chapter. 48 years old. Built like a linebacker. Eyes that had seen everything twice. Marcus, you look like death warmed over. What happened? The pool game stopped. Jamal Davis set down his cue. Carlos Rodriguez closed the ledger he'd been studying. Everyone turned to look. Marcus walked to the bar, poured himself a whiskey, downed it in one swallow. Church, now, everyone. That word meant something. Church was serious. Church meant decisions that couldn't be taken back. Derek nodded once. You heard him. Get everyone. Within 10 minutes, every member was there. 15 men, all wearing the same patches, all waiting to hear what Marcus had to say. Marcus stood at the front of the room and told them everything. The diner, the 2 men, the drink, the waitress who saved his life, the threat they made before they left. When he finished, the room was dead silent. Derek spoke first. They tried to drug you. Snatch you right off the street. That's what it looks like. In public, where anyone could see. Yeah. Jamal uncrossed his arms. That's bold. That's real bold. Who's got the stones to come at us like that? Carlos stood up slowly. His voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. I know who. Every head turned toward him. His name is Raymond Knox. Goes by the Collector. Been running the South Memphis protection racket for 15 years. Every small business owner in that part of town pays him or pays the price. Restaurants, barber shops, corner stores. He takes 20% of everything they make, and in return nothing bad happens to them. Marcus felt the pieces clicking together in his head. And we've been getting in his way. More than getting in his way. We've been destroying him. Remember that soul food restaurant on Beale Street, Miss Johnny's place? Knox's boys were squeezing her for $500 a week. She came to us. We told her she didn't have to pay. We made sure she didn't have to pay. I remember. There have been others. A dozen at least. Every time Knox tries to collect, someone from our club shows up. Word's getting around. People are figuring out they don't need Knox's protection because they've got ours. For free. Jamal let out a low whistle. We're cutting off his income. Worse than that. We're making him look weak. And his business weak gets you killed. He's got to do something about us or his whole empire crumbles. Derek's jaw was tight. So he tried to grab Marcus. Take out our VP. Send a message. That's my guess. Marcus looked around the room. At the men who'd become his brothers. At the family he'd built over 15 years. There's something else, he said. The waitress who warned me. Her name's Destiny Carter. She works at that diner, lives alone. And now Knox's people know her face. Know she helped me. Tyrone Jackson, one of the younger members, shifted in his seat. His face had gone pale. What is it, Tyrone? Tyrone hesitated. Then he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. I've been getting threats too. For about a week now. Phone calls, text messages, telling me to watch my back, telling me the club was going to pay for sticking our nose where it didn't belong. Derek slammed his hand on the bar. And you didn't think to mention this. I thought it was just talk. I thought if I ignored it. Ignored it. They just tried to kidnap Marcus. You think that's not connected? Marcus held up his hand. What's done is done. What matters now is what we do next. He looked around the room again, met every pair of eyes. First priority is Destiny Carter. She saved my life without knowing who I was, without wanting anything in return. She's in danger because she did the right thing. We're going to make sure nothing happens to her. You want us to protect her. I want eyes on her around the clock. Discreet. She doesn't need to know we're there unless something goes wrong. Carlos set up a rotation. Someone near the diner during her shifts. Someone near her apartment at night. Carlos nodded. Done. Second priority is finding out everything we can about Raymond Knox. His operation. His people. His weaknesses. He's coming at us, and I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Jamal cracked his knuckles. I've got contacts on the south side. I can start asking questions. Do it, but quiet. We don't want Knox knowing we're digging. Derek stood up. His voice carried the weight of command. What about hitting back? Knox made the first move. Maybe it's time we made the second. Marcus shook his head slowly. Not yet. That's what he wants. He's trying to provoke us into doing something stupid, something that gives him an excuse to escalate. We stay smart. We protect our people. We gather information. And when the time is right, we take him apart piece by piece. And if he comes at us again before we're ready... Marcus's eyes went cold. Then we end it fast. But we choose the time and place, not him. The meeting broke up. Members filtered out in ones and twos, talking low, making plans. Marcus stayed behind, sat at the bar with another whiskey he didn't drink. Derek sat down next to him. You're thinking about her, the waitress. Marcus didn't deny it. She didn't have to do what she did. Didn't have to risk herself for a stranger. Most people would have looked the other way. But she didn't. No, she didn't. Derek was quiet for a moment. Then he said, We'll keep her safe, brother. Whatever it takes. Marcus looked at his old friend. They'd been through wars together. Literal wars. They'd buried friends and burned enemies and built something that mattered. I know. That's what we do. But deep down, Marcus had a feeling this wasn't going to be simple. Raymond Knox hadn't survived 15 years by being stupid. Whatever came next was going to be bloody. He just had to make sure the right people bled. Destiny got home at 2:30 in the morning. Her apartment building was old, 6 stories of brick and rust and memories of better days. She'd lived here 3 years, knew her neighbors by sight, but not by name. Kept to herself. Kept her head down. Tonight the building felt different. Every shadow seemed deeper. Every sound seemed louder. She climbed the stairs to the 4th floor. Her keys jangled in her shaking hand. She unlocked her door, stepped inside, locked it behind her. Then she checked it again, and again. Then she pulled the chain across. Her apartment was small. 1 bedroom. A bathroom barely big enough to turn around in. A kitchen that was really just a corner with a stove and a refrigerator. A couch that had seen better decades. But it was hers. She'd earned it. Every month's rent paid with hours on her feet smiling at people who looked right through her serving food to people who never learned her name. She walked to the window and looked out at the street below. Empty. Quiet. Orange streetlights making everything look sick and strange. Nobody there. But she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching. She pulled the curtains closed. Tight. No gaps. Then she sat on her couch and pulled out the napkin with Marcus's number. She stared at it for a long time. Her phone sat on the cushion next to her. She could call. Right now. Just to hear another voice, just to feel less alone. But it was late, and she was tired. And maybe she was just being paranoid. Maybe those men had already forgotten about her. Maybe this whole night would just become a story she told someday, a story about the time she warned a biker about his drink, and nothing bad happened after. Maybe. She put the napkin on her coffee table and leaned back, closing her eyes. Just for a minute. Just to rest. She was almost asleep when her phone buzzed. The sound shot through her like electricity. She grabbed the phone, nearly dropping it. Text message. Unknown number. She opened it with trembling fingers. 3 words. We know where you live. Destiny's blood turned to ice. She sat there frozen, staring at the screen, reading those 5 words over and over like they might change if she looked hard enough. They didn't change. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the phone. Another buzz. Another message. Sleep tight, sweetheart. Destiny stopped breathing. They were out there. Right now. Watching her building. Maybe watching her window. Maybe already inside. She grabbed the napkin and dialed Marcus's number before her brain could talk her out of it. 1 ring. 2 rings. Yeah. It's me, the waitress. From the diner. Destiny. What's wrong? His voice changed instantly. Sharper. Alert. They texted me. 2 messages. They know where I live. They said sleep tight. They're watching me. They have to be watching me. Are you in your apartment? Yes. Door locked. Yes. Windows closed. Curtains closed. I checked everything twice. Good. Stay right there. Don't open the door for anyone. Don't go near the windows. I'm on my way. How long? 20 minutes? Maybe less. Derek and Jamal are closer. They'll be there in 10. You hear me? Destiny, 10 minutes. Just hold on. The line went dead. Destiny sat on her couch phone, clutched to her chest, ears straining for any sound. The building was quiet. Too quiet. She could hear her own heartbeat, her own breathing. Then she heard footsteps. Above her. On the 5th floor. Someone walking slowly. Heavy boots on thin floors. Walking to the stairwell. Starting to come down. Destiny's heart stopped. The footsteps got closer. 4th floor. Coming down the hallway. Slow. Deliberate. They stopped, right outside her door. Destiny stared at the door. At the chain. At the lock that suddenly seemed so flimsy, so easy to break. Silence. Then a knock. 3 slow knocks. Boom. 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 Destiny couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. A voice. Muffled through the door. "We just want to talk, sweetheart. Open the door." She didn't answer. Didn't make a sound. "We know you're in there. We watched you come home, saw you checking the windows. You look real pretty when you're scared." Destiny felt tears streaming down her face, hot and silent. "You made a mistake tonight. Helped someone you shouldn't have helped. But mistakes can be fixed. Open the door, and we'll explain how." She still didn't answer. A long pause. Then the voice again, harder now. "Fine, have it your way. But this isn't over. We know where you work. We know where your brother goes to school. Tennessee State Right Room 417 in Wilson Hall. Nice kid. Wants to be a lawyer. Be a shame if something happened to him." Destiny's whole body went cold. Darius. They knew about Darius. Think about it, sweetheart. Think real hard. We'll be in touch. Footsteps again, moving away, down the stairs, getting fainter. Then silence. Destiny sat there, shaking, tears pouring down her face, her brother's face flashing in her mind. 8 minutes later, someone knocked on her door again. She flinched so hard she nearly fell off the couch. "Destiny, it's Derek. Marcus sent us." She didn't move. "Destiny, I know you're scared, but we're here to help. You can look through the peephole. You'll see our patches. We're Hell's Angels. We're on your side." Slowly, on legs that felt like they might collapse, Destiny walked to the door. She looked through the peephole. 2 men in leather jackets, Hell's Angels patches on their backs, one big and broad, one lean and watchful. She opened the door. Derek stepped in first, his eyes scanning the apartment in one quick sweep. Jamal followed, moving to the window, checking the street below. "You okay?" Derek asked. "They were here, right outside my door. They knew my name. They knew about my brother. They knew his dorm room number." Derek's face went hard. "Did they try to get in?" "No. They just talked. Said they wanted to talk to me. Said this wasn't over." Jamal turned from the window. "Street's empty now. Whoever was here, they're gone." "For now," Derek said. "Marcus is on his way. He'll be here in a few minutes. Until then, we're not leaving your side." Destiny sank onto the couch. The tears were still coming, but slower now. The immediate terror fading into something deeper. Something that settled into her bones. "Why is this happening? I just told him not to drink the water. That's all I did." Derek sat down across from her. His voice was surprisingly gentle for such a big man. "You did the right thing. Most people wouldn't have. And now some very bad people are trying to scare you into regretting it." "Well, it's working. I know. But here's what you need to understand. You're not alone in this anymore. Marcus called in every favor he had to get us here tonight. The whole club knows what you did. You saved one of ours, and that means something. It means you're under our protection now." Destiny looked at him. This stranger in leather. This biker she'd never met before tonight. "Why, you don't know me. You don't owe me anything." "Because that's who we are. We protect people who can't protect themselves. We stand up for people who do the right thing even when it costs them. You're one of those people now, whether you meant to be or not. The door opened. Marcus walked in. He crossed the room in 3 strides and crouched down in front of Destiny, his eyes searching her face. Are you hurt? No, just scared. Did you see their faces? No, they stayed on the other side of the door. Marcus nodded. His jaw was tight, his eyes burning with a cold anger. They mentioned my brother, Destiny said. Her voice broke. They know where he lives, his dorm room, everything. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice low and certain. Nothing is going to happen to your brother. I give you my word. How can you promise that because I'm going to make some calls tonight? By tomorrow morning there will be people watching his dorm. Good people. People who owe me. Your brother won't even know they're there, but they'll be there. And if anyone tries to touch him, they'll regret it for the rest of their very short lives. Destiny stared at him. This man she'd met only hours ago. This stranger who was promising to protect her family. Why? She whispered. Why would you do all this for me? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Because 8 hours ago, you could have looked the other way. You could have kept your head down and let me drink that water, and whatever happened to me would have happened. But you didn't. You risked yourself for a stranger. That kind of courage is rare, Destiny, and it deserves to be protected. He stood up. You're not staying here tonight. It's not safe. Pack a bag. You're coming with us. Where? The clubhouse. It's secure. No one gets in who doesn't belong. You can stay there until we figure out how to end this. Destiny hesitated. Going with them meant trusting them. Completely. With her life. But staying here meant waiting for those men to come back. And next time they might not be content with just talking through the door. Okay, she said. Give me 5 minutes. She went to her bedroom and threw clothes into a bag. Toothbrush, phone charger, the photo of her and Darius from his high school graduation. When she came back out, Marcus was waiting by the door. Ready? No, but let's go anyway. They walked out of the building together, 4 of them now, Destiny in the middle, protected. 3 motorcycles waited on the street. Jamal handed Destiny a helmet. You ever ridden before? No. Hold on tight. Don't lean unless I lean. You'll be fine. She climbed on behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist, feeling the engine rumble to life beneath her. And as they pulled away from her apartment building, Destiny looked back one last time at the dark windows, the empty street, the life she was leaving behind. She didn't know what was coming next, but she knew one thing for certain. She wasn't alone anymore. And somewhere out there, Raymond Knox was about to learn what happened when he threatened the wrong people. What would you do if you were Destiny? Would you trust these strangers with your life, or would you try to handle it alone? Think about that as this story continues, because things are about to get much, much worse before they get better. The clubhouse smelled like leather and engine oil and something cooking in the back kitchen. Destiny stood just inside the door, her bag clutched against her chest, feeling like she'd stepped into another world. It was past 3 in the morning, but the place was alive. People moved through the main room, talking in low voices, glancing at her with curiosity, but not hostility. A woman with silver streaks in her dark hair approached her before anyone else could. You must be Destiny. Her voice was warm, motherly. I'm Nina, Derek's wife. Come on, let me show you where you can sleep. And Destiny looked back at Marcus. He nodded once. Go with Nina. Get some rest. We'll talk in the morning. Nina led her down a hallway to a small room in the back. Clean sheets on a single bed, a lamp on the nightstand, a window with heavy curtains drawn tight. Bathrooms across the hall, Nina said. Kitchen's always open. You need anything? Anything at all? You come find me. Destiny set her bag on the bed. Her hands were still trembling. Thank you for all of this. I don't understand why you're helping me. Nina smiled. It reached her eyes. You helped one of ours. That makes you family now. And family takes care of family. That's how it works around here. She left, closing the door softly behind her. Destiny sat on the edge of the bed. The events of the night crashed over her like a wave. The diner, the warning, the men at her door, the threats against Darius. She pulled out her phone and stared at her brother's contact photo. His graduation picture, that big smile, those hopeful eyes. She wanted to call him, warn him. But what would she say? Hey, little brother, some criminals might be coming to hurt you because I warned a biker about his drink. He would think she'd lost her mind. She put the phone down and lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Sleep didn't come easy. But eventually, exhaustion won. 7 hours later, Destiny woke to the smell of bacon. Sunlight leaked around the edges of the curtains. For one blessed moment, she didn't remember where she was or why. Then it all came rushing back. She got up, splashed water on her face in the bathroom, and followed the smell of food to the kitchen. Nina was there, working the stove. Carlos sat at a long wooden table drinking coffee and scrolling through his phone. A younger man Destiny didn't recognize was eating eggs like he hadn't seen food in a week. Morning, honey. Nina set a plate in front of an empty chair. Sit. Eat. You look like you haven't had a real meal in days. Destiny sat. The food was good. Better than good. But she could barely taste it. Where's Marcus? Been up since 5, Carlos said without looking up from his phone. He's been making calls, setting things up. Setting what up? Carlos finally looked at her. His eyes were tired but kind. Protection for your brother. Eyes on Knox's operation. Information gathering. The man doesn't sleep when there's work to do. Destiny pushed her eggs around her plate. I need to call my brother. I need to warn him. Marcus already handled it. What do you mean? Means there are 2 of our people in Nashville right now keeping watch on his dorm. Your brother won't see them, won't know they're there. But if anyone comes near him, they'll know. Destiny felt something loosen in her chest. Just a little. How can I ever repay this? I don't have money. I don't have anything. Carlos shook his head. You don't owe us anything. You did the right thing. That's payment enough. The kitchen door swung open. Marcus walked in, phone still pressed to his ear. Yeah, keep me posted. Anything moves, I want to know. He ended the call and looked at Destiny. How'd you sleep? Badly. That's honest. He poured himself a cup of coffee. We need to talk. You up for it? Destiny nodded. Marcus sat down across from her. His face was serious, but there was something else there too. Something that looked almost like respect. Here's where we are. Raymond Knox runs the biggest protection racket in South Memphis. He's been squeezing local businesses for 15 years. Anyone who doesn't pay gets hurt. Property destroyed. Family members threatened. Sometimes worse. And you've been stopping him. We've been protecting people who can't protect themselves. Free of charge. That's cutting into his business, making him look weak. So he decided to take me out. Send a message. Destiny felt her stomach tighten. And I got in the way. You saved my life. That's not getting in the way. That's being a hero. I don't feel like a hero. I feel like I'm drowning. Marcus leaned forward. I know, and I'm not going to lie to you. Knox isn't going to let this go. He can't. If he lets a waitress and a biker club embarrass him, his whole operation falls apart. He has to respond. So what do? We stay smart. We stay together. And we wait for him to make a mistake. And if he doesn't make a mistake, Marcus's eyes went cold. Then we make one for him. The day passed slowly. Destiny stayed at the clubhouse trying to make herself useful. She helped Nina in the kitchen. She organized supplies in the storage room. She did anything to keep her mind off the fear that lived in her chest like a second heartbeat. Members came and went. She learned their names. Jamal, who had driven her here on his bike. Carlos, the quiet one, who seemed to know everything. Tyrone, the young one, who had been getting threats of his own. Big Tommy, who looked like he could break a man in half, but spoke so softly she had to lean in to hear him. They all treated her with respect, like she belonged. It felt strange. Destiny had spent her whole life feeling invisible. At the diner, customers looked through her. At her apartment building, neighbors walked past without a word. Even at church, on the rare Sundays she went, she sat alone in the back pew. But here, people saw her. Really saw her. And they didn't look away. Around 4 in the afternoon, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her blood went cold. She opened the message with trembling fingers. "Miss you at work today, sweetheart. Called in sick. That's not like you. Hope you feel better soon. We'll be thinking about you." Destiny's hands started shaking. She found Marcus in the main room talking with Derek. She held up her phone without a word. Marcus read the message. His jaw tightened. "They're watching the diner. They know you didn't show up for your shift. What do? I can't just hide here forever. I have bills, rent, my brother's tuition." Derek spoke up. "You can't go back there. Not yet, maybe not ever. Then what, I just give up my life, let them win?" Marcus put his hand on her shoulder. "Nobody's giving up. We're going to end this. But right now, going back to that diner would be walking into a trap. Knox's people are waiting for you to do exactly that." Destiny felt tears burning in her eyes. "This isn't fair. I didn't ask for any of this. I just wanted to help." "I know." Marcus's voice was gentle. "And I'm sorry, but fair doesn't exist in Knox's world. The only thing that matters is who's still standing when the dust settles." That evening, everyone gathered in the main room. 15 members of the Memphis Hells Angels chapter, plus Nina and 2 other partners. All of them there to figure out what came next. Derek stood at the front. "Here's what we know. Knox has been watching the diner. He's got people tracking Marcus's movements. He knows where Destiny lives. He knows about her brother. This isn't random intimidation. This is a coordinated campaign." Carlos pulled out a folder and spread papers across the table. "I've been digging into Knox's operation. He's got about 30 people working for him. Some are muscle, some are collectors. Some are just informants, regular people he pays to keep their eyes open." "Any weak links?" Jamal asked. "Maybe. There's a guy named Victor Dunn, one of the 2 who tried to drug Marcus. Word is he's been unhappy lately. Knox promised him a promotion 6 months ago. Never delivered. He might be persuadable." Marcus shook his head. "Too risky. If we approach him and he's still loyal, Knox knows we're making moves." "So we just wait?" Tyrone sounded frustrated. "Let them keep coming at us." "We don't wait," Marcus said. "We prepare. Knox is going to escalate. That's who he is. He can't let this stand. So we get ready for whatever he throws at us. And when he overreaches, we hit back so hard he never gets up." The room was quiet. Then Derek nodded slowly. "All right. Carlos, keep digging. Jamal, I want extra patrols around the clubhouse. Tommy, reach out to our contacts in the police department. See if anyone's heard anything about Knox's next move." "What about me?" Destiny asked. Her voice was steadier than she expected. Everyone turned to look at her. "What do you mean?" Derek asked. "I mean, what can I do? I'm not going to just sit here and wait for someone to save me. If I'm part of this now, I want to help." Marcus studied her for a long moment. "You ever handled a firearm?" "No." Then that's where we start. Jamal, take her out back tomorrow. Basic safety, basic handling. Nothing fancy. Just enough so she's not helpless. Destiny felt something shift inside her. Fear was still there, but now there was something else underneath it. Something harder. Something like determination. 2 days later, Destiny held a gun for the first time in her life. Jamal was patient. He showed her how to hold it, how to stand, how to breathe, how to aim. The first time she pulled the trigger, the recoil surprised her. The shot went wide. Again, Jamal said. Steady hands, soft eyes. Let the shot surprise you. She fired again, closer this time. Better, again. By the end of the hour, she was hitting the target more often than she was missing. You're a natural, Jamal said, and there was genuine surprise in his voice. I'm terrified, Destiny admitted. Good. Terrified people pay attention. Overconfident people get killed. That night, Destiny called her brother. She couldn't tell him everything, but she could hear his voice. Make sure he was okay. Hey, sis. Darius sounded tired, but happy. What's up? You usually call on Sundays. Just wanted to check in. How's school? Crazy. Finals are coming up. I've been living in the library. You eating okay? Sleeping. Yes, Mom. He laughed. What's going on? You sound weird. Destiny closed her eyes. Nothing. Just miss you. Be careful, okay? Watch your surroundings. Don't go anywhere alone at night. Destiny, you're scaring me. What's happening? Nothing. Just big sister stuff. I love you, Darius. Love you too. But you're definitely being weird. After she hung up, Destiny sat in the dark for a long time. This was her life now. Hiding in a biker clubhouse, learning to shoot a gun, lying to the only family she had left. All because she'd seen something wrong and couldn't look away. On the 4th day, everything changed. It started with a phone call. Marcus was in the middle of breakfast when his phone rang. He answered, listened for 30 seconds, and his face went pale. When? How bad? He stood up so fast, his chair fell over. I'm on my way. He hung up and looked at Derek. Miss Johnny's place, the soul food restaurant on Beale Street. Someone firebombed it an hour ago. She was inside. The room went silent. Is she alive? Nina asked. Barely. 3rd-degree burns. They took her to the med. Destiny felt her stomach drop. This is because of me, isn't it? Because you were protecting her. Marcus shook his head. This is because of Knox. He's sending a message, reminding everyone what happens when they don't pay. We have to do something. We will. Marcus's voice was ice. Derek, get everyone together. All hands. We're done waiting. Within an hour, every member of the club was assembled. The mood was different now. The patience was gone. The careful strategy was gone. In its place was cold, focused rage. Derek stood at the front, but this time Marcus spoke first. Miss Johnny has been feeding this neighborhood for 30 years. She's 72 years old. She makes the best fried chicken in Memphis, and now she's fighting for her life because Knox wanted to prove a point. He paused, letting the words sink in. I'm done playing defense. Knox thinks he can terrorize innocent people to get to us. He thinks if he hurts enough bystanders, we'll back down. He's wrong. What's the play? Jamal asked. We hit him where it hurts. His money. Carlos, you said Knox has a warehouse on the south side where he stores merchandise. Stuff he's confiscated from businesses that couldn't pay. Carlos nodded. Old textile factory on Commerce Street. He's got easily $100,000 worth of goods in there. Not anymore, he doesn't. Tonight that warehouse burns. The room erupted. Questions, objections, support. Voices overlapping. Derek raised his hand for quiet. This is escalation. You understand what that means. Knox won't let this go unanswered. He already escalated, Marcus said. An old woman is in the ICU. How much more unanswered are we supposed to take? Destiny watched the exchange, watched the men around her wrestling with the decision. This wasn't a movie. This wasn't a game. These were real consequences they were weighing. And she realized something. She wasn't afraid anymore. She was angry. I want to help, she said. Everyone turned to look at her. Destiny, this isn't, Marcus started. I know what it isn't. I know what it is. Knox threatened me, threatened my brother, tried to kidnap me in my own home. And now he nearly killed an innocent woman. I'm not sitting this out. Marcus studied her face for a long moment. You understand what you're volunteering for. I understand that I'm tired of being a victim. I understand that Miss Johnny didn't deserve what happened to her. And I understand that sometimes the right thing to do is dangerous. Silence hung in the room. Then Derek spoke. She's got more courage than half the people I know. If she wants in, she's in. Marcus nodded slowly. All right, but you follow orders. You stay close. And if I tell you to run, you run. No arguments. Understood. Understood. That night, 12 motorcycles rolled through the streets of South Memphis. Destiny rode behind Marcus, her arms wrapped around his waist, her heart pounding against her ribs. The warehouse loomed ahead. Dark windows. No security visible. Knox was arrogant. He didn't think anyone would dare touch his property. He was wrong. They parked a block away, moved in on foot. Silent. Professional. Carlos had scouted the location. 2 guards inside. Minimal surveillance. Easy in, easy out. Except nothing was ever easy. They were halfway to the building when headlights swept across the street. Down, Marcus hissed. Everyone dropped, pressed against the shadows. A black SUV rolled past. Slow. Searching. Destiny held her breath. The SUV paused, 20 feet away. So close she could hear the engine idling. Then it moved on. Turned the corner. Disappeared. That was close, Jamal whispered. Too close. We need to move fast. Carlos, you're with me on the guards. Derek, get the fuel ready. Everyone else watch our backs. They moved like ghosts. Destiny stayed close to Nina, who had insisted on coming despite Derek's protests. First time, Nina whispered. First time for everything tonight. Nina squeezed her hand. You're doing fine. Just breathe. Minutes later, the guards were neutralized, tied up and gagged, but alive. The club had rules about that. No unnecessary killing. Not tonight. Derek and Jamal spread accelerant through the warehouse. The smell of gasoline filled the air. Marcus found Destiny near the door. Time to go. You okay? I'm okay. He struck a match. The fire spread fast. Hungry. Consuming. They were 3 blocks away when the flames broke through the roof, lighting up the night sky like a warning. Knox would see this. Knox would know. The war had begun. And Destiny Carter, the waitress who just wanted to do the right thing, was right in the middle of it. Remember this moment. Remember this choice. Because what comes next will test everyone involved. And some of them won't survive. The flames were still visible in the rearview mirrors when they pulled back into the clubhouse lot. Destiny's hands wouldn't stop shaking. She climbed off Marcus's bike and stood there, legs unsteady, heart still racing. She had just helped burn down a building. She had just declared war on a man who wanted her dead, and somehow she felt more alive than she had in years. Marcus killed his engine and turned to face her. You did good tonight. I didn't do anything. I just watched. You showed up. That's more than most people would do. Inside, the mood was electric. Members were talking fast, adrenaline still pumping. Someone broke out bottles of whiskey. Someone else turned on music. But Marcus didn't celebrate. He walked straight to the back room where the leadership met. Derek and Carlos followed. Destiny hesitated, then followed too. Nobody stopped her. Marcus was already talking when she slipped through the door. Knox will know by morning. Probably already knows. We need to be ready for whatever comes next. He's going to hit back hard, Carlos said. This isn't the kind of thing he lets slide. I know. That's why starting now, nobody travels alone. Nobody goes anywhere without backup. We tighten up everything. Derek nodded slowly. What about the business owners? The ones we've been protecting? We warn them. Tell them to close up for a few days if they can. Stay home. Stay safe. This is going to get ugly before it gets better. Destiny stepped forward. What about my brother? All three men turned to look at her. He's still at school, still exposed. If Knox wants to hurt me, that's the easiest way to do it. Marcus held her gaze. I've got 2 men on him around the clock. They're good. The best I have. But is it enough? It's going to have to be. Pulling him out of school would tip Knox off that we're scared. Right now he thinks your brother is just leverage. If we act like he's important, Knox will know we're protecting him, and he'll send more people. Destiny felt sick. So my brother is bait. Your brother is safe. There's a difference. She wanted to argue, wanted to scream, but she knew Marcus was right. The moment they showed weakness, Knox would exploit it. I need to call him, she said. I need to hear his voice. In the morning, it's almost 4 a.m., get some sleep. She didn't sleep. She lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the clubhouse settling around her. Footsteps in the hall, voices fading, the creak of old wood, and the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. At 6:15, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart stopped. She opened the message. Nice fire. Hope you enjoyed it? Because what comes next, you won't enjoy at all. Destiny sat up. Her hands were shaking again. Another message came through. We know you were there. We have photos. The police might find them very interesting. Then a third. Unless you want to talk, just you and me. No bikers, no games. Tomorrow night. I'll send the address. Destiny stared at the screen. Knox wanted to meet. Alone. Every instinct screamed that this was a trap, that going would be suicide. But if she didn't go, what then? Knox had photos. If he sent them to the police, she would be arrested for arson. Her life would be over. Her brother would have no one. She had to tell Marcus. But first she needed to think. She got up, got dressed, and walked to the kitchen. Nina was already there making coffee like she hadn't slept either. You look terrible, honey. I feel terrible. Nina poured her a cup and sat down across from her. Talk to me. Destiny hesitated. Then she showed Nina the messages. Nina's face went pale. You can't go. You understand that, right? This is a trap. I know. But if I don't go, he sends those photos to the police. I go to prison. My brother loses everything. There has to be another way. Is there? Knox has all the cards. He's been doing this for 15 years. He knows exactly how to corner people. Nina was quiet for a long moment. You have to tell Marcus. I know. I just needed someone else to see this first. Someone who isn't going to immediately try to protect me. Nina reached across the table and took Destiny's hand. We're all trying to protect you. Because you're worth protecting. Don't forget that. An hour later, Destiny showed Marcus the messages. His face went through several emotions in rapid succession. Surprise, anger, calculation, and something else she couldn't quite name. He's trying to separate you from us, Marcus said finally. Classic move. Isolate the target, then eliminate. I know what he's trying to do. The question is, what do we do about it? You don't go. Simple as that. And when he sends those photos to the police, we deal with it. I know lawyers. I know people who can make evidence disappear. You're not walking into a trap. Destiny shook her head. And what if you can't make it disappear? What if he's already sent copies to multiple places? What if this is my only chance to end this without more people getting hurt? Marcus slammed his hand on the table. This is exactly what he wants. He wants you scared and desperate and making stupid decisions. Don't give him that. I'm not stupid, Marcus. I know this is dangerous, but I'm also not naive. Knox isn't going to stop. He's never going to stop, unless someone stops him. And you think you can do that by walking into his trap alone. I think I can give you an opportunity. I go to the meeting. I wear a wire. You and your people are nearby. When Knox shows his hand, you take him down. The room went silent. Derek, who had been listening from the corner, spoke up. It's not the worst plan I've ever heard. Marcus spun around. Are you serious? I'm saying it has merit. Knox thinks he's the one setting the trap. But if we control the variables, we can turn it around on him. Destiny goes in. We monitor everything. The second things go sideways, we move in. And if we're too slow, if Knox puts a bullet in her head before we can reach her... Destiny's voice cut through. That's my risk to take, not yours. Marcus turned back to her. His eyes were hard, but beneath the anger she saw something else. Fear. For her. Why? He asked quietly. Why would you risk your life for this? Because I'm already risking my life just by existing. Knox made that clear the night he showed up at my door. Running won't save me. Hiding won't save me. The only thing that might save me is ending this. And if I can help make that happen, I have to try. Marcus was quiet for a long time. Then he nodded slowly. Okay. We do this. But we do it my way. You wear a wire. You wear a tracker. You don't go anywhere in that meeting without us knowing exactly where you are. And the second I say abort, you run. You don't argue. You don't hesitate. You run. Deal. The next 24 hours were a blur of preparation. Carlos obtained the wire from a contact in the police department, someone who owed the club favors and didn't ask questions. Jamal scouted the location Knox had sent, an abandoned factory on the edge of town, multiple entry points, plenty of places for an ambush on either side. Derek coordinated the response team. 8 members, all armed, all experienced. They would position themselves around the perimeter before Destiny went in. Marcus worked with Destiny on what to say, how to stall, how to keep Knox talking long enough for them to move in. He's going to try to scare you, Marcus said. That's his whole game. Fear and control. Don't let him see you're afraid. I am afraid. I know, but there's a difference between being afraid and showing it. Knox feeds on fear. The more scared you look, the more power he feels. You take that away from him. You take away his advantage. Destiny nodded. What if he searches me? Finds the wire. Then you run. You don't try to talk your way out. You don't try to fight. You just run. We'll be close enough to cover you. And if I can't run... Marcus held her gaze. Then I'll come get you. I don't care how many people he has. I don't care what it costs. I'm not losing you. Understood? Destiny felt something shift in her chest. Understood. That evening, Darius called. Destiny almost didn't answer. She didn't know what to say. Didn't know how to talk to him, knowing what she was about to do. But she couldn't ignore him. Not when this might be the last time. Hey sis, you called yesterday and I missed it. Everything okay? Everything's fine. The lie came easier than she expected. Just checking on my favorite brother. Your only brother? That's why you're my favorite. He laughed. That warm, familiar laugh that she'd been listening to her whole life. You sound tired, he said. You working too hard again? Always. You know me. Destiny, seriously, you okay? You've been weird lately, and I heard something strange today. Her blood went cold. What do you mean? Some guy came by the library asking about me, said he was an old friend of yours, wanted to know what classes I was taking where I hung out. The librarian told me because she thought it was creepy. Destiny's heart was pounding so hard she could barely hear. What did he look like? I don't know. She said he was white, maybe 40s, dressed nice. Said he had a weird smile. Why do you know who it is? Knox's people. They were getting closer, testing the protection. I'm not sure. But Darius, I need you to listen to me. Don't talk to anyone you don't know. Don't go anywhere alone. If anyone approaches you asking about me, you walk away and you call me immediately. Okay? Destiny, you're scaring me. Good. Be scared. Be careful. I love you, little brother. I love you too. But you're going to explain this to me. Soon. I will. I promise. She hung up and sat there for a long moment, phone clutched in her hands. Knox was pushing, testing, letting her know that her brother wasn't as safe as she thought. This had to end. Tonight. At 9 p.m., Destiny put on the wire. Carlos taped it under her shirt, checking the signal 3 times. We'll hear everything, he said. If you're in trouble, just say the word grandmother. That's our signal to move in fast. Grandmother. Got it. You remember how to use this? He pressed a small pistol into her hand. The same model Jamal had been teaching her. I remember. Hopefully you won't need it, but just in case. Marcus was waiting by the door. Ready? No. But let's do this anyway. They drove to the factory in a van with no markings. Destiny in the back. Derek driving. Marcus beside her, not speaking, but his presence solid and reassuring. A block away, they stopped. We'll be in position in 3 minutes, Derek said. Wait until we signal, then go in. Destiny nodded. Her mouth was dry. Her hands were trembling. Marcus turned to her. You don't have to do this. We can find another way. There is no other way. You know that. I know. I just needed to say it. He reached out and squeezed her hand. Brief. Strong. Come back to us. I will. She got out of the van. The factory loomed ahead. Dark windows. No lights. No movement. But she knew he was in there. Waiting. Her phone buzzed. Team in position. You're clear. Destiny took a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Then she walked toward the door. The entrance was unlocked. The door creaked as she pushed it open. Inside, darkness. The smell of rust and neglect, and something else. Something chemical. Hello, her voice echoed. Over here. The voice came from deeper in the building. She walked toward it, her footsteps loud in the silence. She found him in what used to be the main floor. Raymond Knox, standing alone under a single work light that cast harsh shadows across his face. He was older than she expected. 60s, maybe. Gray hair. Expensive suit. The kind of man you'd see at a business luncheon, not running a criminal empire. Miss Carter. He smiled. That wrong smile everyone talked about. Thank you for coming. I didn't have much choice. There's always choice. You made one the night you warned that biker. You made another when you helped burn my warehouse. And you're making one now. Destiny kept her voice steady. What do you want? Straight to business. I respect that. He gestured to a metal chair a few feet away. Please, sit. I'll stand. As you wish. He began walking slowly around her, circling. Predator and prey. You've caused me a lot of trouble, Miss Carter. A lot of money. A lot of embarrassment. You tried to drug an innocent man. Innocent, Knox laughed. Marcus Williams is many things, but innocent isn't one of them. Do you know how many people he's hurt? How many lives he's ruined? I know he protects people. People you were hurting. I was providing a service, order, stability, in exchange for a reasonable fee. Your biker friends disrupted that balance. Now everyone suffers. Destiny felt anger rising in her chest. Miss Johnny didn't deserve what you did to her. Knox stopped walking. That was unfortunate. Collateral damage. If your friends had stayed out of my business, it wouldn't have been necessary. You almost killed a 72-year-old woman. And yet here we are, talking instead of fighting. That's progress, don't you think? He moved closer. Too close. Here's what's going to happen, Miss Carter. You're going to convince Marcus Williams and his club to leave Memphis. Permanently. In exchange, I'll destroy the photos from that night. Your brother stays safe. You get to go back to your normal life. Everyone wins. And if I refuse... Knox's smile disappeared. Then I send the photos to the police. You go to prison for arson. Your brother's scholarship gets revoked when the university finds out his sister is a convicted felon. And after that, well, accidents happen. Destiny's blood ran cold. You would hurt my brother. I would do whatever is necessary to protect what I've built. The question is, would you... She thought about Darius, his laugh, his dreams, his future. She thought about Marcus, Nina, Derek, the family she'd found in the most unlikely place. And she thought about her mother, her voice, her words. If good people stay quiet, evil wins. No, Destiny said. Knox's eyebrows rose. No, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to betray the people who protected me. And I'm not going to let you threaten my brother anymore. Knox studied her for a long moment. You're either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both. Knox sighed. I was hoping we could resolve this peacefully, but I suppose some people need to learn the hard way. He raised his hand. From the shadows around the room, men emerged. 4, 6, 8 of them. All armed. All moving to surround her. Destiny's heart hammered. Did you really think I came alone? Knox asked. Did you really think I would meet you without insurance? Destiny smiled. Did you... Knox's confident expression flickered. Grandmother? The word echoed through the factory. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the doors burst open. Marcus came through first, gun raised. Derek right behind him. Jamal. Carlos. Tommy. 8 members of the Hells Angels fanning out weapons trained on Knox's men. Knox spun around his face a mask of shock and rage. What the hell is this? Marcus walked forward until he was standing between Knox and Destiny. This is over. Your men are surrounded. Your operation is finished, and you're going to answer for everything you've done. Knox's eyes darted around the room, calculating odds, looking for an exit. There wasn't one. You think this changes anything? Knox spat. I have connections. Police, politicians, judges, you can't touch me. Maybe not, Marcus said, but I know someone who can. He nodded toward the door. A woman walked in. Professional suit, badge visible on her hip. Detective Angela Foster. Raymond Knox, she said, her voice cutting through the tension. You're under arrest for extortion, arson, attempted kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit murder. And that's just what we have so far. Knox's face went white. This is entrapment. This is illegal. My lawyers will destroy you. Your lawyers are welcome to try. Angela nodded to the uniformed officers filing in behind her. Take him. As they put handcuffs on Knox, he turned to look at Destiny one last time. This isn't over, he said. You have no idea what you've started. Destiny met his gaze without flinching. Neither do you. They led him away. Marcus turned to Destiny. You okay? I think so. She let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Is it really over? Knox is finished. His operation will collapse without him. It's over. Destiny felt tears burning in her eyes. I need to call my brother. Go. We'll handle the rest. She walked outside, pulled out her phone, and dialed Darius with trembling fingers. He answered on the second ring. Destiny, it's almost midnight. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Her voice broke. Nothing's wrong anymore. I just wanted to tell you I love you, and everything's going to be okay now. Destiny, you're crying. What's going on? I'll explain everything. Soon. I promise. Just know that you're safe. We're both safe. She hung up and looked up at the night sky. Stars scattered across the darkness like promises waiting to be kept. For the first time in weeks, she could breathe. For the first time in weeks, she could hope. And somewhere deep inside, she knew this wasn't just an ending. It was a beginning. What would you risk for the people you love? What would you sacrifice to do what's right? Hold on to those questions. Because Destiny's story isn't over yet, and the hardest choices are still ahead. 3 days after Raymond Knox's arrest, Destiny woke up to sunlight streaming through the curtains of her room at the clubhouse. For the first time in weeks, she hadn't dreamed about men at her door, hadn't dreamed about threats whispered through phone lines, hadn't dreamed about fire and fear and running. She lay there for a moment, letting the quiet settle around her. It felt strange, almost wrong, like her body didn't know what to do without the constant hum of terror running through it. A knock on her door. Destiny, you awake? Nina's voice. Yeah, come in. Nina pushed open the door, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this. Destiny sat up and took the offered cup. Thank you. For everything. Not just the coffee. Nina sat on the edge of the bed. How are you feeling? I don't know. Empty, relieved, scared that I'm relieved. That's normal. You've been running on adrenaline for weeks. It takes time to come down from that. Destiny took a sip of coffee. Hot and strong. Exactly what she needed. What happens now? That's actually why I came. Marcus wants to see you, when you're ready. Destiny found Marcus in the main room going through paperwork at one of the long tables. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes, stubble on his jaw. But when he saw her, he smiled. There she is, our hero. I'm not a hero. You walked into a trap to bring down a man who's been terrorizing this city for 15 years. That sounds pretty heroic to me. Destiny sat down across from him. What happens now? With Knox, I mean. Detective Foster called this morning. Knox is being held without bail. They've got enough evidence to put him away for decades. His whole operation is falling apart. His men are flipping on each other trying to get deals. It's beautiful, honestly. And his threats, the photos from the warehouse. Gone. Foster made sure of it. You're clear. Destiny felt a weight lift off her shoulders, a weight she hadn't even realized she was still carrying. What about Miss Johnny? Marcus's smile faded. She's out of the ICU, going to need months of recovery, skin grafts, physical therapy, but she's alive, and she's already talking about reopening the restaurant. She's something else. She is. And she asked about you, by the way. Wanted to thank the woman who helped take down the man who hurt her. Destiny shook her head. I didn't do it alone. Nobody does anything alone. That's the point. He pushed a piece of paper across the table toward her. Which brings me to why I wanted to talk to you. Destiny looked at the paper. Numbers, salary, benefits, job description. What is this? An offer. We need someone to manage this place, handle the day-to-day operations, scheduling, finances, events. Someone we can trust. Someone who's proven they'll stand up when it matters. Destiny stared at him. You want me to work here? I want you to run here. There's a difference. Marcus, I don't know anything about running a clubhouse. You didn't know anything about taking down a criminal either. You figured it out. He leaned forward. Destiny, you've been working double shifts at a diner for years, making barely enough to survive. You deserve better than that. We can give you better than that. She looked at the number on the paper again. $55,000 a year. More than she'd ever made in her life. This is too much. You don't have to do this. We're not doing it because we have to. We're doing it because we want to. Because you've earned it. Destiny felt tears threatening to fall. Can I think about it? Take all the time you need. That afternoon, Destiny called Darius. She told him everything. From the beginning. The diner. The warning. The threats. The fire. Knox. The arrest. All of it. When she finished, there was a long silence. Destiny, why didn't you tell me? I didn't want you to worry. I didn't want you to do something stupid like come home and try to protect me. I would have come home. In a heartbeat. I know. That's why I didn't tell you. Another pause. You're incredible, you know that. You've been dealing with all this alone, and you still called to check on me every few days like nothing was wrong. I wasn't alone. I had help. The bikers. The Hells Angels. Yeah, they protected me, gave me a place to stay. And now they're offering me a job. Wait, what? A job doing what? Managing their clubhouse. It's a real job, Darius. Salary, benefits, everything. And you're going to take it? Destiny hesitated. I don't know. It feels like too much. Like I don't deserve it. Destiny Marie Carter. Darius's voice went sharp. Don't you dare say that. You risked your life to help a stranger. You stood up to a man who's been hurting people for years. You deserve every good thing that comes to you. She laughed through her tears. When did you get so wise? I learned from my big sister. That evening, Destiny walked into the main room where everyone was gathered. Marcus, Derek, Nina, Carlos, Jamal, Tommy. All of them. They looked up when she entered. Destiny took a deep breath. I'll take the job. The room erupted. Cheers, applause. Nina rushed forward to hug her. Derek clapped Marcus on the shoulder. Someone popped a bottle of champagne that Destiny was pretty sure had been waiting for this moment. Marcus made his way through the crowd to stand in front of her. Welcome to the family. I still don't know what I'm doing. None of us did when we started. You'll figure it out. We all will. Together. The next morning, Destiny started her new life. Nina showed her the office. Small but functional. Desk, computer, filing cabinets full of records that looked like they hadn't been organized in years. This is yours now, Nina said. Good luck. Destiny stood in the doorway looking at the chaos. Where do I even start? Anywhere, everywhere, just start. So she did. She started with the finances. Spreadsheets and receipts and bank statements that made her head spin. But slowly patterns emerged. She began to understand how money flowed in and out of the club, what they spent it on, where they could save. She moved on to scheduling, patrols, events, meetings, who was available when, who worked well together, who needed time off. She tackled the storage room next. Supplies scattered everywhere with no system. She created one. Labels, inventory lists, A sign-out sheet so people couldn't just take things without accountability. By the end of her first week, the clubhouse was already running smoother. Members noticed. "You organized the storage room?" Jamal asked, staring at the neat shelves. "I've been looking for this toolkit for months." "It was buried under 6 boxes of old magazines," Destiny said. "You're welcome?" Carlos came to her 3 days later with a problem. "We've got a conflict. 2 groups both need the main room Saturday night. One's a recruitment event. One's a community dinner for the families we've been helping. Move the recruitment to the back lot. Set up outdoor lights. Make it casual. People like casual." Carlos blinked. "That's actually a good idea. That's why they pay me." She said it like a joke, but underneath she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. 2 weeks into the job, Marcus found her working late in her office. "You're still here." "Just finishing up the quarterly report." "Destiny, it's almost midnight." "Is it?" She looked at the clock and realized he was right. "I lost track of time." Marcus sat down across from her desk. "You know you don't have to prove yourself. You've already done that." "I know. I just want to do this right. I want to deserve this chance." "You already deserve it. That's why we gave it to you." She saved her work and closed the laptop. "Can I ask you something? Anything?" "Why me, really? You could have given this job to anyone. Someone who already knew how things worked. Someone with experience. Why take a chance on a waitress you met in a diner?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Because I saw something in you that night. Something most people don't have. You were scared. I could see it in your eyes. But you spoke up anyway. You risked everything for a stranger." "I didn't think about it that way at the time." "That's exactly my point. For you, it wasn't a calculation. It wasn't risk versus reward. You just saw something wrong and couldn't stay silent. That's rare, Destiny. Rare and precious." She felt her throat tighten. "I was just doing what my mother taught me." "Then your mother raised a remarkable woman." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Marcus spoke again. "There's something else I wanted to talk to you about. Something bigger. Bigger than running this place. Yeah." He leaned forward. "The women in and around this club. Partners, sisters, friends, they've always been on the sidelines. Supporting but never really part of things. I want to change that." Destiny's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I want to start a women's division. Full members. Same patches. Same respect. Same voice in how we run things." "And you want me involved? I want you to lead it." Destiny stared at him. "Marcus, I just started. I'm still learning how everything works." "So was I when they made me VP. So was Derek when he became president. Leadership isn't about knowing everything. It's about caring enough to figure it out. I don't know if other women would follow me. I think you'd be surprised. Nina's already on board. So is Maria from Miss Johnny's restaurant. And Keisha Brown. Remember her? The woman who came to us about her landlord threatening to evict her if she didn't sleep with him. That's the one. We handled it. Now she wants to pay it forward. Help other women the way we helped her." Destiny felt something stirring in her chest. Something that felt like possibility. How would it work? That's for you to decide. I'm not going to tell you how to run your own division, but I'll give you whatever resources you need, whatever support. This isn't a token gesture, Destiny. This is real. She thought about all the women she'd met since coming here. The ones who cooked meals, who raised children while their partners rode, who held things together behind the scenes without recognition. They deserved more. They all deserved more. "Okay," she said. "I'll do it." Marcus smiled. "I knew you would." 1 month later, the women's division of the Memphis Hells Angels held its first official meeting. 12 women gathered in the main room. Destiny stood at the front, heart pounding, palms sweating. She'd faced down Raymond Knox, walked into a trap wearing a wire, helped burn down a warehouse. But somehow this felt more terrifying. "Thank you all for coming," she began. "I know this is new. I know some of you might be wondering what the point is. What makes this different from what we've been doing all along?" She paused, gathered her thoughts. "For years we've been the ones in the background, the ones who support without being seen, the ones who sacrifice without being recognized. That changes now." Nina nodded from the front row, encouraging. "This division isn't about taking anything away from the men. It's about adding something. Our voices, our strength, our perspectives. We've all been through things that made us stronger. Now we use that strength to help others." Maria raised her hand. "What kind of help are we talking about? Whatever's needed. Women escaping abusive relationships, families struggling to make ends meet, young girls who need mentors, anyone who needs someone in their corner." Keisha spoke up. "I want to help women like me. Women whose landlords or bosses think they can take what they want. Women who feel trapped." "Then that's what you'll do. We'll create a network. A safe place for women to come when they have nowhere else to go." The meeting went on for 2 hours. Ideas flowing. Plans forming. By the end, they had the outline of something real. As the women filed out, Nina hung back. "You did good." "I was terrified." "Couldn't tell. You looked like you'd been doing this your whole life." "I was shaking inside." "So is everyone who leads anything worth leading. The difference is you did it anyway." 3 months later, the women's division had grown to 18 members. They'd helped 15 women escape dangerous situations, set up a scholarship fund for young women in the community, started a mentorship program that paired experienced members with those just learning to stand on their own. Destiny's office wall was covered with thank you cards, photos, letters from women whose lives had been changed. But she also had something else on that wall now, a leather jacket, her own Hell's Angels patch. She'd earned it 3 weeks ago, voted in unanimously by both the main chapter and the women's division. The first woman to hold membership in both. The night they gave it to her, she'd cried so hard she could barely speak. "My mom would be proud," she'd finally managed to say. "She is proud," Nina had whispered. "Wherever she is, she's watching. And she's proud." Now Destiny ran her fingers over the leather, feeling the weight of it. 6 months ago, she'd been a waitress working double shifts at a roadside diner, invisible, struggling, alone. Now she had a family, a purpose, a future, all because she'd seen something wrong and couldn't stay silent. Her phone buzzed. A text from Darius. "Just got my grades, 4.0 this semester. Full ride continues. Your little brother is going to be a lawyer." Destiny smiled so wide her face hurt. She typed back. "Proud of you. Always. Come visit soon. There are people here who want to meet the famous Darius Carter." His response came immediately. "Famous for what?" "For having the best sister in the world." She put down her phone and walked out of her office. The clubhouse was alive with activity. Members coming and going, bikes rumbling in the lot, the smell of someone cooking in the kitchen. Marcus was at the bar talking with Derek. He looked up when she approached. "There she is, our leader. One of many. Still counts." He slid a drink toward her. "You look happy." "I am happy. Is that weird?" "After everything you've been through, no. That's earned." She took the drink, but didn't sip it. "I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For something to go wrong. Something will. That's life. But you'll handle it. You've proven that." Derek raised his glass. To Destiny Carter, the woman who walked into a diner and walked out a legend. I'm not a legend. Give it time. That night, there was a celebration. The 6-month anniversary of Knox's arrest. The community was invited. Food and music and laughter filling the clubhouse and spilling out into the street. Miss Johnny was there. Still recovering. Still bearing scars. But standing tall, serving plates of her famous fried chicken to anyone who wanted some. "This one's for you, baby girl," she said, handing Destiny a heaping plate. "You saved my life. You know that Knox is the one who hurt you. I just helped stop him." "And that's not saving me." Miss Johnny's eyes glistened. "Child, I was ready to give up. Pay that man whatever he wanted just to make it stop. You showed me I didn't have to. You showed all of us." Destiny hugged her carefully, mindful of her still healing skin. "We showed each other." Later, as the party wound down, Destiny found herself outside, looking up at the stars. Marcus came to stand beside her. "Hell of a night. Hell of a year. It's only been 6 months. Feels longer." He was quiet for a moment. "You know what I remember most about that first night when you warned me in the diner? The sheer terror on my face. No. The fact that your hands were shaking, but your voice was steady. You were scared out of your mind, but you did what needed to be done anyway. That's courage, Destiny. Real courage." She turned to look at him. "You could have ignored me. Run like I told you. But you didn't." "No, I walked straight toward the danger." "Why, because that's who I am. Who we are. We don't run from trouble. We run toward it." Destiny nodded slowly. "I think I'm starting to understand that." "I know you are." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Then Marcus spoke again. "Knox's trial starts next month." "I know. Detective Foster called me. They want me to testify." "You ready for that?" "No, but I'll do it anyway." "That sounds familiar," she smiled. "I learned from the best." From inside the clubhouse, someone called Marcus's name. He touched her shoulder briefly before walking away. Destiny stayed outside a little longer. She thought about the woman she'd been 6 months ago, the one who kept her head down, who didn't make waves, who was so focused on surviving that she'd forgotten what it meant to live. That woman was gone now. In her place stood someone new, someone stronger, someone who had faced her fears and come out the other side changed, but unbroken. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, didn't know what challenges waited around the next corner, but she knew one thing for certain. Whatever came next, she wouldn't face it alone, and she would never ever stay silent again. Some people spend their whole lives waiting for permission to become who they're meant to be. Destiny Carter stopped waiting. She stopped asking. She started doing. And in doing so, she changed not just her own life, but the lives of everyone around her. Remember that, because the power to change everything lives inside all of us. We just have to be brave enough to use it. The morning of Raymond Knox's trial. Destiny woke before dawn. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, her heart already racing. In 6 hours, she would sit in a courtroom and face the man who had tried to destroy her. The man who had threatened her brother, burned Miss Johnny's restaurant, terrorized an entire community for 15 years. She would look him in the eye and tell the world what he'd done. And she was terrified. A soft knock on her door. "Destiny, you awake?" Nina's voice. "Yeah, come in." Nina entered carrying a garment bag. "I thought you might want something to wear today, something that makes you feel powerful." She unzipped the bag to reveal a deep burgundy dress. Simple, elegant. The kind of thing Destiny had only ever seen in store windows, never dreaming she could afford. "Nina, this is too much." "Nothing is too much for today. You're going to walk into that courtroom and show Knox exactly who he messed with. You need to look the part. Destiny touched the fabric. Soft. Expensive. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just go in there and finish what you started. 2 hours later, Destiny stood in front of the mirror in her office. The dress fit perfectly. Her hair was pulled back in a neat twist. Minimal makeup. She looked professional, confident, like someone who couldn't be intimidated. But inside, she was shaking. Marcus appeared in the doorway. You ready? No. Good answer. Means you're taking this seriously. He walked closer, studying her face. You don't have to do this alone. The whole club will be there. Every seat in that courtroom that isn't reserved, we've filled. Knox is going to look out at the gallery and see nothing but people who stood against him. What if I freeze? What if I get up there and can't speak? Then you take a breath. You find my face in the crowd. And you remember why you're there. Not for yourself. For Miss Johnny. For every business owner he extorted. For every person he hurt. For your brother. Destiny nodded slowly. For Darius. For all of them. You're their voice today, Destiny. The voice they were too scared to use. You're speaking for everyone Knox ever silenced. She felt tears threatening to fall and blinked them back. I can't cry. I'll ruin my makeup. Then don't cry. Get angry instead. Anger is more useful in a courtroom anyway. The courthouse was massive. Marble columns, high ceilings, the kind of building designed to make people feel small. Destiny walked through the doors flanked by Marcus and Derek. Behind them, members of the club filed in. Nina, Carlos, Jamal, Tommy, Tyrone, the women from her division, friends, family, an army of leather and loyalty. Detective Angela Foster met them in the hallway. Miss Carter, how are you feeling? Nervous? That's normal. Just remember you're not on trial. He is. All you have to do is tell the truth. What if his lawyers try to twist things? Make me look like the bad guy. They'll try. That's their job. But I've seen the jury, working-class people, small business owners. They know what Knox is. They've been waiting years for someone brave enough to stand against him. She squeezed Destiny's arm. You're that someone. Don't forget it. The courtroom was packed, every seat filled. People standing along the walls. News cameras outside, reporters shouting questions that were ignored. Destiny was led to a seat near the front. She could feel eyes on her from every direction. Then the side door opened, and Raymond Knox was brought in. He looked different, older, grayer. The expensive suit replaced by a prison jumpsuit, the confident swagger reduced to a shuffle. But when his eyes found Destiny, she saw it. The hatred. The rage. The promise of retribution. He still thought he could win. She held his gaze. Didn't look away. Didn't flinch. After a long moment, Knox looked away first. Destiny felt something settle in her chest. Something that felt like power. The trial began. For 3 days, witnesses testified. Business owners who had paid Knox for years. Former employees who had finally found the courage to speak. Police officers. Financial experts. A parade of evidence that painted a picture of systematic terror. On the 4th day, Destiny was called to the stand. She walked to the front of the courtroom, her heels clicking against the marble floor. She could feel everyone watching. Marcus. Nina. The jury. Knox. She placed her hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. She sat down. The prosecutor, a sharp-eyed woman named Patricia Wells, approached. Miss Carter, can you tell us about the night of September 15th, the night you first encountered evidence of Mr. Knox's criminal activities? Destiny took a breath. I was working at the Blue Moon Diner. A man came in. I didn't know who he was at the time. He sat in a corner booth and ordered coffee. And what happened next? 2 other men were in the diner. They were watching him. When he went to the restroom, one of them got up and put something in his water glass. Did you see what was put in the glass? No. But I saw the motion. I knew it wasn't right. What did you do? Destiny looked at Marcus in the gallery. He nodded once. I warned him. I told him not to drink it. I told him to run. And did he run? No. He confronted the men. They left. But before they did, one of them looked at me and said, "Careful who you help. Some people don't appreciate it." A murmur went through the courtroom. What happened after that? Destiny told the story, all of it. The threats, the texts, the men at her door, the warehouse fire, the meeting with Knox, the arrest. When she finished, the courtroom was silent. Knox's lawyer, a silver-haired man named Harrison, stood for cross-examination. Miss Carter, you claim you were just an innocent bystander in all this. But isn't it true that you actively participated in burning down Mr. Knox's property? I was present when it happened, yes. So you committed arson? I was defending myself and others from a man who had already proven he would kill innocent people to get what he wanted. That's not an answer to my question. Destiny met his eyes. Yes, I was there. Yes, the warehouse burned, and I would do it again to stop a man who put a 72-year-old woman in the hospital with third-degree burns. Another murmur. The judge called for order. Harrison pressed on. You've been living at the Hells Angels clubhouse for months. Isn't it true that you've become romantically involved with Marcus Williams, the club's vice president? Destiny felt heat rise to her cheeks. Marcus Williams is a friend. He protected me when no one else would. A friend who happens to be a known criminal. Objection! Patricia was on her feet. Mr. Williams is not on trial here. Sustained. Move on, Mr. Harrison. Harrison smiled, like he'd already made his point. Miss Carter, isn't it possible that you've been manipulated by the Hells Angels used as a pawn in their war against my client? Destiny leaned forward. No one manipulated me. I saw something wrong, and I spoke up. That's it. That's all. Everything that happened after was because your client decided to make me a target, because your client couldn't stand the idea that a waitress had the courage to stop him. So you're saying, I'm saying Raymond Knox is a bully, a coward, a man who hurts people who can't fight back. And when someone finally did fight back, he didn't know what to do. So he threatened, he burned, he tried to destroy, but he failed. Because good people stood together, and that's something men like Knox will never understand. The courtroom erupted. The judge banged her gavel, called for order. But Destiny could see it in the jury's faces. In the gallery, in the reporters scribbling notes. She had won. Not just the argument, not just the moment, she had won their hearts. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours, guilty on all counts. When the verdict was read, Knox's face went white. His lawyers slumped in their seats. The gallery erupted in cheers. Marcus was on his feet, pumping his fist. Nina was crying. Derek was hugging anyone within reach. Destiny sat still, letting it wash over her. It was over. It was finally over. Detective Foster found her afterward. You were incredible up there. I was terrified. You didn't look it. Knox's lawyers tried every trick in the book, and you didn't budge. That takes something special. I had good people behind me. Foster nodded. You did. But they had you in front of them. Don't forget that. The sentencing came 3 weeks later. 45 years to life. Raymond Knox would die in prison. As the sentence was read, Knox turned to look at Destiny one final time. His eyes were empty now, defeated. She didn't look away. and she didn't feel afraid. 1 year later. Destiny stood in front of the mirror in her office, adjusting her leather jacket. The Hells Angels patch on her back, her name stitched on the front. Founder Women's Division on her shoulder. Today was the anniversary of Knox's arrest. The community celebration had become an annual tradition. Food, music, families coming together to remember what they'd survived and celebrate how far they'd come. A knock on her door. "Destiny, you've got visitors." She walked out to find Darius standing in the main room, but he wasn't alone. A young woman stood beside him, nervous, holding his hand. "Destiny, this is Maya, my girlfriend." Destiny's eyes went wide. "Your what?" Darius grinned. "I know I should have told you sooner, but I wanted you to meet her in person." Maya stepped forward, her voice trembling slightly. "I've heard so much about you, Miss Carter. Darius talks about you all the time, what you did, how brave you are." Destiny laughed. "Call me Destiny, and don't believe everything he tells you. He exaggerates." "She's being modest," Darius said. "She literally took down a crime lord." "I had help." "She always says that too." Maya smiled, relaxed a little. "I can see why he loves you so much." Destiny felt her throat tighten. "Come here, both of you." She pulled them into a hug. Her little brother. His girlfriend. The future stretching out in front of them, bright and full of possibility. When she let go, Darius was grinning. "There's something else. I passed the bar exam." Destiny screamed so loud that half the clubhouse came running. "You did it! You actually did it! I'm officially a lawyer, and I already have a job offer. Public Defender's Office in Nashville. I'm going to help people who can't afford help." Destiny grabbed his face in her hands. "Mom would be so proud. She'd be proud of both of us." The celebration that night was the biggest yet. Miss Johnny was there, fully recovered, running a food booth that had a line around the block. Her restaurant had reopened 6 months ago, bigger and better than before. The community had raised the money to rebuild it. The women's division was out in force. 18 members, now with more joining every month. They had helped over 100 women escape dangerous situations, started a scholarship fund that had sent 12 young women to college, built a network of support that stretched across the entire city. Marcus found Destiny near the bonfire, watching the flames dance. Hell of a year. Hell of a life. He stood beside her, close, but not touching. "You know, I never thanked you properly." "For what?" "For saving my life that night. In the diner, if you hadn't warned me, I'd be dead, or worse." Destiny shook her head. "You would have figured it out. You're too stubborn to get caught that easily." "Maybe. But you didn't know that. You just saw a stranger in trouble and you acted. That's rare. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Marcus spoke again. "I've been thinking about the future. About what comes next. For the club. For us. All of us. We started something when we took down Knox. Something bigger than just one man. We showed people that they don't have to accept being victims. That they can stand up. Fight back. Win. We did. I want to do more of that. Expand what the women's division is doing. Reach more communities. Help more people." Destiny turned to look at him. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want you to be my partner in this. Not just running the clubhouse. Not just leading the women. Building something that outlasts both of us." "Marcus, I'm not asking for an answer right now. Just think about it. Think about what we could do together." She did think about it. She thought about her mother, the woman who had taught her to speak up, to stand tall, to never let wrong go unchallenged. She thought about Darius, the little boy she'd helped raise, now a man, now a lawyer, now building his own future. She thought about all the women who had come to her for help, the ones still trapped, the ones still afraid, the ones still waiting for someone to tell them they didn't have to accept their fate. And she thought about herself. The waitress who had whispered a warning in a diner one rainy night and changed everything. Yes, Marcus blinked. What? Yes. Whatever you're planning, whatever comes next, I'm in. I'm your partner. Marcus smiled. That rare, genuine smile she'd only seen a handful of times. We're going to change the world, Destiny Carter. We already did. Now we just have to do it again. The bonfire crackled and popped. Around them people laughed and danced and celebrated. Destiny looked out at the faces she'd come to know. The family she'd found. The community she'd helped build. 2 years ago, she had been invisible. Alone. Working double shifts just to survive. Dreaming of nothing because dreams felt like luxuries she couldn't afford. Now she had everything. Not money, not fame, not power in the traditional sense. She had purpose. She had people who loved her. She had a voice that mattered. And it had all started with 5 words whispered to a stranger. Don't drink that. Run now. She hadn't run. Neither had he. And because they both chose courage over fear, everything changed. Miss Johnny approached, carrying 2 plates of food. You two need to eat. You're both too skinny. Yes, ma'am. They took the plates and found a quiet spot away from the crowd. Can I tell you something? Destiny said between bites. Always. Sometimes I still can't believe this is my life. I wake up and I think I'm going to be back in that tiny apartment getting ready for another shift at the diner. And then I open my eyes, and I'm here. And I have to remind myself that it's real. It's real? I know, but it still feels like a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's consequence. You made a choice that night, and every choice since has led you here. That's not luck. That's you. Destiny felt tears threatening again. My mother used to say that courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. Smart woman. She was. I miss her every day. She's still with you. Every time you stand up for someone who can't stand for themselves. Every time you speak when staying silent would be easier. That's her. That's her legacy living through you. Destiny wiped her eyes. When did you get so wise? I learned it from a waitress who saved my life. She laughed. We saved each other. Yeah, we did. The night wound down slowly. Families headed home. Members drifted off to bed. The bonfire burned lower and lower until it was just embers glowing in the dark. Destiny stood alone in the quiet, looking up at the stars. She thought about all the paths her life could have taken, all the moments where she could have chosen differently. Chosen silence. Chosen safety. Chosen to look the other way. But she hadn't. And because she hadn't, she was here now. Standing in a place that felt like home. Surrounded by people who felt like family, building something that felt like legacy. Her phone buzzed. A text from Darius. Best sister in the world. Love you always. She typed back. Best brother in the world. Proud of you always. Then she slipped the phone back into her pocket and took one last look at the stars. Somewhere out there, women were still trapped, still scared, still waiting for someone to tell them they had options. Tomorrow she would wake up and do everything in her power to reach them. Tonight, she would rest. Because courage wasn't a single moment. It wasn't one choice. It was a lifetime of choosing to stand up, to speak out, to fight for what was right, even when it cost everything. Destiny Carter had learned that lesson in a diner on a rainy night, and she would spend the rest of her life teaching it to others. Not everyone is destined to change the world, but everyone has the power to change someone's world. Destiny Carter changed hundreds of lives by speaking 5 words to a stranger. She didn't have money. She didn't have power. She didn't have connections. She had courage, and that was enough. If you're watching this and wondering if your voice matters, if your choices matter, if you matter, the answer is yes. 1,000 times yes. You are one moment of courage away from changing everything. Don't stay silent. Don't look away. Speak up, because that's how legends are born. And Destiny Carter is living proof. If this story touched your heart, like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear that courage matters. Drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from. And remember, every single one of us has the power to be the voice that changes everything. This is a story about a waitress who whispered a warning and became a legend. But really, it's a story about you, about what you might become. If you're brave enough to try,